Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. All the time I get people asking me for recommendations for stuff that they should listen to. You know, they'll say, I like this band, this band, this band. What should I listen to? And I love giving people recommendations. And I also love learning about new records for myself because it doesn't matter how long you've been in it. There's always a record you've never heard of, which is really great and a lot of fun. So I'm going to take you through 10 records that you probably never heard of before. Now, if you're an avid collector and you're really into it like I am, you might have heard of all of these, or you might have heard of a couple of them, or you might not have heard of any of them. I would like to know how many you've heard of. So put your score in the bottom in the comments, and then if there's any that I didn't mention that you think are really good recommendations, put those in the comments too. I'd love to read them. So this is just after doing it for long enough, I found a few records that I really like that I thought I'd tell you about. Now, this is not the definitive list. I had like 50 records pulled out that I wanted to show, but some of them I felt like you probably have heard. Some of them I felt like it was maybe a little bit too out there. But if you're a classic rock listener and you want to find some stuff you've never heard before, this stuff is going to fit right in. This is good stuff, hard rock. If you like Zeppelin, if you like Black Sabbath, stuff like that, this is going to be right up your alley. So some of this stuff is kind of super rare and expensive, and some of this stuff is not. So I will tell you as it comes. Now, this is one of the cheaper ones. This one's called Head Over Heels. This is a really good, just classic rock album. Now, this is abnormally good. This is like, it sounds like a mixture of like Boston and Led Zeppelin and maybe a little Black Sabbath. It's got some amazing guitar riffs on it. You know, a lot of the classic rock albums, you know, like Boston, you could tell that they're really good and really talented musicians, but sometimes it's almost like they're really polished. These records were going to be, you know, very popular records, and they were basically produced in a way that people would, it was consumer friendly, let's just say it that way. This is just really in your face, a rock and roll with some amazing guitar licks in it. They didn't hold anything back on this record. It's amazing. It's on Capitol, so it's not like a really rare private press label or anything like that, but it is a really good record. This is original U.S. press. You can get these for around 75 bucks. So it depends on, you know, some of these records are a lot more expensive than that, but this is a findable record. And this is even one that if you get lucky, you might find it for really cheap and somebody not know what it is, because it doesn't look like it would be that crazy of a record when you see it. But this is 1971, just really, really amazing classic rock stuff. And I actually wasn't going to put this on the list, and I threw it on while I was getting stuff together just to kind of decide. And as soon as I put it on, I was like, I got to put this in there. This is amazing. And you don't really hear people talking about this that much. So Head Over Heels, 1971, amazing record. Check it out. The next one, this is one that probably 90% of the time I suggest this to someone, they've never heard of it before. And then they come back to me and they're like, dude, that melted my face off. This is JPT Scare Band. Now, I've got all my stuff in these MoFi sleeves, if you're not familiar with these. So a lot of people ask what they are. But this JPT Scare Band, it came in this white cover. So basically, when they did the first pressing of this, it was some sort of silkscreen cover, and a lot of them got destroyed. So there were not a lot that survived. They are out there, but I don't have one. So they are findable. They're not too expensive. But the deal with JPT Scare Band, they were a mid-70s rock and roll band. I'll just show you that label. It's scary. But the JPT stands for the three initials of the three band members, and then they add scare to it. So JPT Scare. But it is a very strong fuzz guitar insanity. It's nuts, man. It's acid fuzz just out the wazoo. You know, it's wild madness. But I'm sure it probably scared people. But it was recorded. A lot of their stuff was recorded in the mid 70s, but they never put out a record till I think 94 is when they put that out. And so they have a few records, but the early 90s ones, it was kind of like a bunch of their recordings that they had accumulated. But that's a original like 94 press of that. But it's something that you can find on, I think you can find on Apple Music and all that stuff. All this stuff you can find on YouTube. If you just type it in, you'll find it. So that's one to definitely check out if you like guitar stuff. I mean, it is just really, really raw, fusion of like blues rock, classic rock, metal, all together, and it's just absolute insane guitar work. So that's one you got to check out. This next one is one of the first psych records I ever fell in love with. And if you watch my channel, you might have heard of all of these. But this is one that I almost didn't put on because I know a lot of psych guys know this record and they talk about this record, but it's so good and it was so essential for me when I was getting into it. This is called Morgen by Steve Morgen. This is on ABC Probe. This is another one, just really good, solid guitar work, but the songs are really good. It's composed really well, but very good vocals. This is just one that if you're a classic rock fan and you don't like anything too crazy, you will love this record. You really will. But this is probably one of my top 10 favorite records of all time. It's that good. It's amazing. And it's one that, you know, if you just listen to what's been on the radio, you've probably never heard this record before, but it's called Morgen, M-O-R-G-E-N, by Steve Morgen, 1969. Just really amazing stuff. I would highly recommend it to anybody. This next one is Confusion by Big Brother featuring Ernie Joseph. This is on the All American label. It's a little bit of a tough one to find, U.S. pressing. But Ernie Joseph had a band in the mid-'60s, Ernie and the Emperors, and they were the same style as the British Invasion, you know, Beatles-type aesthetic that a lot of bands were doing at the time. They kind of evolved. They had a band called Giant Crab, which is more popular than this. And then some of the members of the band kind of got drafted in the military, and they kind of broke up and rearranged and formed Big Brother. So it's not Big Brother and the Holding Company. It's different Big Brother. But this is really cool stuff. They actually toured with Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker Band, a lot of bands like that. You know, in the early mid-'70s. If you like Blue Cheer, this is a lot like Blue Cheer. But really good guitar work, very good rock and roll. But this is one you don't see around very often. I found it a couple years ago, and the cover made me buy it because it's just amazing. And I didn't know what it was, and I kind of bought it on a whim, had no idea. And then since I've bought it, I've never heard anybody else talk about it. And so that's just one that I feel like most people have not heard of. It's a very good one to check out. Definitely check it out. And like I mentioned, Blue Cheer, if you've never heard of Blue Cheer, that's a really good gateway band to get into some more obscure stuff that's not on the radio. That's one of the most common obscure bands. So next one, this is another one that you may have heard of. I've talked about this record a good bit if you watch my channel. But a lot of people ask me, you know, what's something like Black Sabbath? I get that question a lot. This is the best answer to that question, I think. This is Jerusalem, 1972. This is an original German pressing. It's amazing that I have this. This is one that I've got really, really lucky on. This is a tough one to find, very rare, but you can get reissues of it for, I mean, probably under 40 bucks. This is an amazing record. Like I said, just like Black Sabbath. I just listened to this. It's not just like Black Sabbath, but it's a very close, good associator with Jerusalem. But really good guitar work. Definitely proto-metal type sound, just like Black Sabbath is. But really excellent guitar work. Same kind of flavor. There's a couple slow songs in there, but most of them are hard-hitting, heavy, drudge drone, early proto-metal, just like Sabbath. So this is one I can't recommend enough. It's amazing. Knock your socks off if you're not familiar with Jerusalem. Just type in on YouTube Jerusalem 1972 or Discogs or whatever and find a copy and listen to it. You know, even stream it, whatever. Some of these you're not going to be able to find to stream. Some of them you are. The next one, this is one that I recently got. Now, the rest of these we're kind of getting into. It's getting rarer and rarer as we get on down the stack. Let's go to this one. This is one I absolutely love this record. This is called Arzachel. Really out there record. Arzachel was a band that was originally called Uriel. And they actually broke up. Their guitar player was Steve Hillage. Steve Hillage was in Gong and Khan. And he broke up and left the band. And then they kind of picked up a couple people, dropped a couple people, whatever. They signed to Decca Records and they changed their name to Egg. So there's a company that wanted to basically fund a psychedelic record. You know, at the time, this was late 60s, psychedelic records were selling well. And so they wanted to kind of fund a psychedelic record and sell it. So they approached Egg, and Egg said, you know, we really would like to do it, but we just signed to Decca, and we don't want to ruin that. So let's get Steve Hillage back in the band, just do a little Uriel reunion and change the name and do it under a false name. So none of their names are on this record, but it is who they are. Basically, they changed the name to Arzachel, and this is an original Spanish pressing. This is a very tough one to find. Reissues are probably going to be your way to go on this one, but it's got some early prog influence to it. Steve Hillage just tears it up on guitar. Amazing player. But it's some deep psych with a little bit of prog influence in there. Really, really good stuff. Through and through, it's an amazing record. You don't want to skip a second of it. It's really good stuff. But it's another one, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I have seen it around, seen a couple deep psych heads talk about it, but this is one you might not have heard of. And again, if you watch my channel, you've probably heard all these. But this next one's really good, and I found this, and it was another one, like I found it and I never heard anybody talk about it, and still haven't heard many people talk about it. This is a band called, it says Variations, but the name of their band is Les Variations, L-E-S. It's a French band. 3 of the 4 members are Jewish and born in Morocco, but the band was formed in France. This is an original French pressing, but this is really good French hard rock. They sing in English. All the titles are in English. You know, they were very influenced by American music, and this is just a phenomenal record. You could tell that they have a lot of influence from a bunch of different cultures and places, but they all bring it together and play some really good psychedelic hard rock, even a little bit of garage feel in there too. But this is an absolutely phenomenal record, and I don't ever see it anywhere, and I don't know. I'll have to see if I can find it. All this stuff, I'm pretty sure you could just type in on YouTube, and people rip the albums and post them. And people are really good about that, that if it's not available, they try to, you know, make it available. And so that's a really good one. Can't recommend that one enough. These are all some of my tip-top recommendations. This is one I just recently got. This is called The Dog That Bit People. I just posted about this on my Instagram today. This is a really cool album. The title is immediately, the first time I heard of it, I thought the title was hilarious. This is not an album you would think would be very good. It doesn't look very good. This is originally on Parlophone. They finally did a reissue in 2012, but previously they hadn't done a reissue to it. This is an original promo pressing of it, but this is, so there was a band called Locomotive, and it was a really good, deep, hard rock, prog type thing. Really good. Right up my alley. Absolutely love it. You had me at deep. But the Dog That Bit People, basically, okay, so Locomotive, they wanted to go into that deep space frontier, and some of the members did and some of the members didn't, so they broke up. And when they broke up, they picked up a couple other members, and this album is a little bit more geared towards folk and country rock, but they still have that deep rock underlying feel. Some really smoking guitar parts in here, but also some really like Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young type of stuff in here. So this is a really great album. This is one I would venture to say most people have never heard of, and it's one that you might love if you give it a shot. So that's one. I think you're gonna have to find that one on YouTube. It's another one that's really rare and it's tough to find. This is one that, man, I love this record so much. I don't know anything about this record. This is called the Scorpio Brothers. I'm gonna take the sleeve off so you can see it better. This is called the Scorpio Brothers. Iko Iko. That cover alone, look at that. It is smoldering. Back cover's cool too. There's not much to be known about this record. I have done extensive research. Can't find anything about it. A friend of mine that lives in Georgia found it somewhere for $1 and bought it because why would you not with that cover? And he traded it to me. But this is it's got some, it's almost like it's got that Santana feel to it. So it's got some like, it's rock with some South American influence kind of, and then also like a little bit of Afrobeat influence, and then also a little bit of like funk and soul influence. But overall, it's a hard rock record. It's really crazy. That's a good explanation of what it is, because it's hard to put your finger on what it is. But they're formed in San Francisco. But man, it is a absolutely amazing album. There is Music Is Your Soul is the first song on the album, and there is uploads of that on YouTube, I know, and that is what you're going to want to listen to. It is just, it's amazing. It's almost like nothing I've ever heard before, but you're going to definitely want to check that out. But this is a rare record. It's going to be tough for you to find this. They've never reissued it. It's almost hard to find uploads of it on the internet. So this is one that's super, super rare. The copies go for $300, something like that, I think. So it's tough to find, but some of the really early, or really deep psych heads know about it, and even like some DJs know about it because there's some good breaks on there. It's just a killer record, but most people don't know about it. This is one I did not know what it was, and I've talked about this a good bit on my channel, so if you watch my channel, you've already seen this. But this is one of my recent discoveries that just blows my mind. I was on a dig a few months ago, and I pulled this record out, and I had no idea what it was, but it looked so cool I had to buy it. So I got it for very cheap, because I didn't know what it was, and the guy selling it to me didn't know what it was, and it was just kind of like taking a gamble. But this is Victor Peraino's Kingdom Come. This is, I mean, with that cover, you gotta pick it up. It's the cover art's nuts. But this is one that, this is 1975. If you've ever heard of Arthur Brown's Kingdom Come, this guy played synth and keyboard and Moog and all this stuff in Arthur Brown's Kingdom Come. Victor Peraino was the first person to ever put a drum machine on an album. It was on Arthur Brown's Kingdom Come. I think the album's called Journey. But the next album was this, Victor Peraino's Kingdom Come. And they did put drum machine on this too. It's not the whole thing's not drum machine. There's like one small part that you can hear drum simulation, and it's really cool and put. I don't want to say, you know, if I say they use drum machine on this record, you're going to think that they used this cheesy drum machine all the way through. That's not what it is. This is a far out space rock prog record. It is nuts. It's amazing. After I did some more research, only 150 of these were made. They have reissued it a couple times, I think. So I think it is findable in the reissue format, but you can find it on YouTube. I know I've listened to it on YouTube a couple times. And it's one of those records. This is probably the most valuable record I own. But it was one of those things, a blind buy. And then I even talked to some of the people that I know that know the most about records and the rarest records, and they'd never heard of it. So that's how I knew it was a pretty rare thing. So this is one that I've just been obsessed with the past few months as I bought it and listened to it like crazy. It's just one of those, it's amazing. So this is one I would highly suggest checking out on YouTube, putting on your want list, keep an eye out for it. So, because maybe you could find one of the other 150 copies, but this is a really cool one. And like I said, if you watch my channel, you've probably seen this one before. So that's my 10. Now I do want to throw in a bonus one in there. This is Randy Holden Population 2. This is an amazing record. It's one of my favorites. If you've seen my channel, I've talked about this record all the time. If you're new to the channel, you might not have ever heard me talk about it. But this is one of my absolute favorite albums. Very Black Sabbath-esque. Some people say this is the first Doom album ever made, but this was a 1970. Randy Holden, one of my favorite guitar players, phenomenal. He played for Blue Cheer for a short period of time, but he was just unlike any other guitar player. This is an incredible record. So if you've never heard it, listen to it. I interviewed him for my podcast. One thing led to another, and I was able to work with my friend over at Ride and Easy Records to get this reissued. So that's kind of a passion project for me that I had been working on with them. I mean, he did, Ride and Easy did all the work, but it was cool for me to be able to connect them. And so since I connected them, I had, they let me kind of put out an exclusive colored vinyl release of it. I have some of these on my website. The link's in the description if you want to buy one. They're $30. But they're all autographed by Randy himself. And so this is one, if you're kind of wanting to get into something that you might not have heard before, but something, a really good hard rock psychedelic, that's one I can recommend you can buy right now. So thought I would show that to you, but this is a really cool record. And if you want to listen to it first, it's on Apple Music and Spotify and all that stuff. You can listen to it first. Thank y'all for watching this video. Appreciate it. I would like to know how many you've heard of. So put your score in the bottom in the comments. And then if there's any that I didn't mention that you think are really good recommendations, put those in the comments too. I'd love to read them. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button, follow us on Instagram, and we will see you next time.